Brian Turner may look like he's on a leisurely walk with his wife and new baby, but the 28-year-old TSA worker is stressed. Thanks to the government shutdown, he has no idea when he's going to get another paycheck.
I was last paid about a week ago, and until the budget is passed, we will not receive a pay again.
With the partial government shutdown still in effect, hundreds of families are now in jeopardy of losing their federal food stamps. Yesterday, the Department of Agriculture posted this message to its website stating the site will not be actively updated until funding has been reestablished.
There's a growing number of TSA agents calling out sick from work since they're not being paid. Security Council members say 10% more TSA agents than usual are calling out from Charlotte Douglas.
People that have been extremely supportive of what we're doing on the border, they're tough, they're smart, they think, they love our country, they have every quality, and I'll tell you what, I really know them well, and they have the kind of qualities that we need.
We're nearly 1 week into a partial government shutdown, and right now there's no end in sight. President Trump has blamed the situation on Democrats. Both chambers of Congress convened briefly on Thursday, but took no steps to end the shutdown. An impasse over border wall funding has caused many national parks and monuments to close throughout the country.
In our country, and they've done a fantastic job at the border. It's ICE and it's Border Patrol, and a man who's really become a friend in a sense, Brandon, I will say this, Brandon Judd has been a stalwart in terms of justice for people, in terms of fairness, and in terms of the toughness you need. You have some pretty tough situations. It doesn't get much tougher.
We posed the same questions over and over again to several TSA workers and one U.S. Customs and Border Patrol officer Friday night as we strolled through Terminal B at Newark Liberty International Airport. What do you think about the federal government shutdown, and how much longer can you continue to work without pay?
I don't want to do this one, please.
Just about everyone declined to talk to us, and there's reportedly hundreds of TSA workers across the country who are not at work to answer those questions because they're intentionally calling out sick, protesting the 2-week-old partial government shutdown and the fact they're forced to work without pay until it's over. Let me ask you this, how much longer can you work without pay?
1 month, 2 months, no problem.
So I just want to thank Brandon and all of the folks. I'm going to have them introduce themselves right now and also say a few words about the wall, about, you can call it a barrier, you can call it whatever you want, but essentially we need protection in our country. We're going to make it good. The people of our country want it. I have never had so much support as I have in the last week over my stance for border security, for border control, and for, frankly, the wall or the barrier.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Karen Lair. With the government still shut down, many Idahoans are budgeting this holiday season, especially those who depend on federally funded programs to sustain themselves. 6 on your side's Madeline White has the details on one vital program that may be the first to fold in the case of a lingering shutdown.
As a partial government shutdown enters its second week with no clear end in sight.
How long do you think the shutdown will last, Mr. President?
Whatever it takes. I mean, we're going to have a wall.
Tensions are high for many, including the nearly 150,000 Idahoans depending on the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as SNAP or food stamps.
In some cases, they're elderly or disabled. They're not able to work, and they need that food assistance. Always.
I have never had anything like it in terms of calls coming in terms of people writing in and tweeting and doing whatever they have to do. I've never had this much support, and we've done some things that, as you know, have been very popular.
Upstate.
Well, this stalemate continues tonight. More than 400,000 employees deemed essential are working unpaid. Another 400,000 can't come back until the shutdown is over, and several federal benefits could be at risk.
Once dependent on food stamps, Kalia Williams has to find new ways to feed her family.
If I could get food stamps, it would help me a lot in my household because we need to eat.
Her new job can't cover everything, so she's working to get back her SNAP benefits. But that could take a while in the middle of a partial government shutdown.
Where we live in a low income already, it is going to be harder for the people that don't work and have children.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture doles out EBT cards and oversees programs like SNAP and WIC. It cut its staff by 95% due to lack of funding.
So this meeting was set up a long time ago. It just came at a very opportune time, and I thought we were all sitting in the Oval Office working on different plans and different ways of stopping the problems that we have in our country.
Tonight, Florida Highway Patrol examining the scene of the fiery head-on collision that killed 2 truck drivers and 5 children in a church van heading to Disney World.
It's going to be a punch to the gut of our community that's going to take us a while to get past.
In Louisiana, the community mourning the victims as young as 9. Investigators say they're still piecing together what happened. One of their working theories, a northbound tractor trailer swerved hard to the left, dragging a car along with it through the median barricade, slamming head-on into a southbound 18-wheeler. The church van hit the trucks as they caught fire. A pickup truck drove into the accident, running over passengers ejected from the van.
The chairman of the National Transportation Safety Board says he would like to send a team of investigators here, but he can't because of the government shutdown.
I just appreciate them being here. I said, let's go out, see the press. You can tell them about the importance of the wall. They basically said, and I think I can take the word basically out, without a wall, you cannot have border security.
It's a single-engine plane. It crashed, and someone died. And it's a big deal.
Saginaw County Sheriff William Federspiel talking about the plane crash that claimed the life of 83-year-old William Burns. He died Saturday after the aircraft he was flying struck a building at Showboat Park in Chesaning. Federspiel says standard procedure is to contact the Federal Aviation Administration. But this time the response on the other end of the line was different.
Because of the government shutdown, the FAA said, don't touch anything. Guard the scene.
So that's exactly what deputies from the sheriff's office have been doing round the clock. Until dollars from the feds start flowing again, the investigation of this plane crash is at a standstill.
It puts a little more strain and stress on our agency because we have a task to do. We must provide protection to the scene to make sure that the scene doesn't get contaminated so that all the evidence is preserved and protected.
Without a very strong form of barrier, call it what you will, but without a wall, you cannot have border security. It won't work. You see what's just been put out on social media where thousands of people are rushing the border.
Drug tunnels under the border. Mexican cartels have dug them to funnel their product into our country. After police find them, the tunnels are then filled in with cement, but that only happens on the U.S. side. And guess what? The cartels, they've started to reuse the tunnels on the Mexican side of the border.
Having a drone fly overhead, and I think nobody knows much more about technology, this type of technology certainly, than I do. Having drones and various other forms of sensors, they're all fine, but they're not going to stop the problems that this country has.
It's nighttime just north of the Arizona border with Mexico. We're not so much looking for something as we are listening for it.
What do you think it would sound like?
I don't think that it would be very loud. Do you?
Supposedly, they fly very low, so we should be able to hear them.
It doesn't take long between the thunderclaps to hear the distant sound of a small-engined aircraft.
That sounds like a plane.
It sounds like it's coming right up the valley from Mexico and heading toward Tucson.
Along the I-19.
In the last year, U.S. border officials identified nearly 250 ultralight aircraft, hardly more than an engine and wings, carrying loads of marijuana across the border.
We've never had more people wanting to come to the United States, and that has to do with the economy and has to do with a lot of other things. We're doing great as a country. But the better we do, the more people want to come in. So, folks, I just want to thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you, and I'm glad you came. I'm glad we came out here. And first time I've ever done this is the first time I've done it. I've done it for you, and I'm very proud of that because you have done a fantastic job. And I want to thank you all. Chris, thank you very much. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Are you not taking any questions at all?
The point of the briefing room is to take questions.
The president making it clear today that he is not budging. He wants that $5.6 billion to build his border wall, vowing to keep the government closed, quote, as long as it takes.
It's a free-for-all. That's how one man is describing the situation at Yosemite National Park. Unlike previous shutdowns, the Trump administration has been leaving parks open to visitors despite skeleton staffing. But some of the West's iconic parks are being forced to partially close as they deal with overflowing restrooms, illegal off-roading, and vandals. Rocky Mountain National Park is closing restrooms and locking up trash bins. Yosemite and Joshua Tree National Parks are both closing some campgrounds. And at Yellowstone, private companies have picked up some of the maintenance normally done by federal workers.
How long do you think the government's going to stay partially shut down?
Could be a long time, or it could be quickly. Could be a long time. It's too important a subject to walk away from.
The Mobile office of the Internal Revenue Service is closed right now because of the partial government shutdown. The question is, how will that affect your ability to file your taxes, and will it delay your refund?
One Mobile tax preparer says she's already getting a lot of questions from taxpayers.
And that has happened before. In 2013, there was a government shutdown, and it delayed $2.2 billion worth of tax refunds for that year.
Ariel Griggs has been preparing taxes for 10 years. She says if the shutdown lasts another couple of weeks, there could be delays in refunds.
When they say the wall's immoral, well, then you got to do something about the Vatican, because the Vatican has the biggest wall of them all. The wall is immoral. Look at all of the countries that have walls, and they work 100%.
All new at 5 o'clock, a report hundreds of TSA workers have been forced to work without a paycheck, of course, during the shutdown, have called out sick. This is at least 4 major airports that we're hearing about, and that includes DFW International. A union rep did tell CNN call-outs at DFW specifically have increased, in their words, 200 to 300%. And they say it will continue to get worse if workers miss a paycheck in the coming weeks. The rep says employees have also expressed interest in finding other work and calling out to go to a job that pays them money.
This is national security we're talking about.
Have you considered using emergency powers to grant yourself authorities to build this wall without congressional approval? And second,
Yes,
on
I have.
Mexico, you have?
Yes, I have, and I can do it if I want.
So you don't need congressional approval to build the
No,
wall?
we can use them, absolutely. We can call a national emergency because of the security of our country, absolutely. No, we can do it. I haven't done it. I may do it. I may do it.
But first, fallout from the partial government shutdown.
Federal agencies feeling the effect of the showdown between President Trump and Democratic leaders over the budget and his demand for border wall funding.
Some federal employees are feeling the pinch, not getting paid, including TSA workers across the country. And tonight, they are calling in sick, and that could create a crisis.
But we could call a national emergency and build it very quickly, and it's another way of doing it. But if we can do it through a negotiated process, we're giving that a shot.
So is that a threat hanging over the Democrats?
I never threaten anybody. But I am allowed to do that, yes.
Food is, of course, a basic need, so the lack of it prompts reactions like these.
It's gonna get crazy. That's how I feel.
And especially children are home. They're home on vacation. They're going to need food. How are you going to feed your kids?
She's talking about federal food benefits like SNAP, sometimes called by its old name, food stamps, being reduced or suspended as part of the federal government shutdown. She doesn't receive benefits herself, but she's in Hollis, Queens. It and nearby neighborhoods, Jamaica and St. Albans, have the highest number of people who are food insecure in the city. They don't know where their next meal will come from.